Kerrod here, back at the Joondalup Resort, and today I'm going to be talking about how you can use these two alignment rods to figure out how much hip turn you're getting in the golf swing and how to improve the quality of your motion. Let's get into it. Now, relative to your individual mobility, hip turn in the backswing in the golf swing is an incredibly important move to create power and control over your golf shots. And using these two sticks here today, we're going to identify exactly how to get a gauge of how much hip turn you've got, and then maybe some exercises and some drills to improve that. Now, what we generally see with tour players is they'll turn their hips anywhere between 30 and 45 degrees, sometimes even more. Now, relative to what you need to do, we need to fit somewhere within that window, and we're going to give you some good checkpoints to enable that. So, first of all, why is hip turn important? Well, hip turn in the golf swing, that allows us, for the average golfer, to create some depth to our hands. Now, depth to the hands means that the club is swinging on an arc around our body, and when that happens, it makes it easier to swing on direction with our intended target. If we tend to limit our hip turn, so we're not rotating them at all, what we generally tend to see is the hands and the arms would work more up, and then that would dictate the downswing, usually causing more of a slices pattern, or where the club would move too out to in through the impact zone. So using these two sticks, we're going to figure out how much hip turn you've got at the moment and then how to improve it from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this red stick here, and I'm just going to simply place it between my belt in the address position. And once you've done that, this is going to be indicative of what we would call, let's say, 0 degrees of hip turn. Now, the next step from that is you're going to place the other alignment stick between your feet on an angle which is somewhat representative of 45 degrees. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect with this alignment stick down on the ground, but close enough is good enough just as a reference. So if we've got 0 degrees here, 90 degrees would be square on, so that would be more so a reference for your ball position or something similar. You're looking about somewhere in the midpoint of that at about 45 degrees. Now, once this stick is placed down within our feet, essentially what I want you to do from here is close your eyes and make a swing to the top and then stop from there. So we're going to close our eyes, we're going to swing to the top and stop. Now, whatever feels normal for you at this stage, you want to stop, not move your hips at all, and then look down and see the reference difference between what you're doing with the stick attached to your hips and then the stick down on the ground. Now, for me, I can see that my hips are probably just a little bit less than that green stick. So if that was representative of 45 degrees, the stick through my hips, well, that would probably be, as a general benchmark for where I am, probably about 35 to 40. Now, for me personally, this allows me to deliver the golf club in an optimal position on the way down and then hit some relatively straight shots. So for you, relative to the ball flight you're seeing at the moment, if you are a fader or a slicer of the golf ball, I would not be surprised that when you go about and you do this exercise, you're very limited with how much hip rotation that you're getting in your backswing. You'd probably see that this red stick is really only moving a little bit, if not hardly anything at all. So to encourage some more hip turn, well, you can simply start just by doing this exercise. Place this alignment stick through your hips, another one down on the ground, and then from there, just simply as you're turning, try and match the stick. Now, as you do this, if you're struggling to get this matching down on the ground, well, what you can allow yourself to do is you can allow this left knee to kick in a little bit, you can allow this right leg to lengthen, and this right hip to move back and behind you for the right hander. That's just going to free up your body rotation to increase the amount of turn that you can get. Now, if we look at the long drivers of the world, let's say the competitions where they're trying to hit the ball as far as they possibly can. Now, they are maxing out their hip rotation to a massive degree. And essentially, the more that you turn your hips in a simplistic manner, it just allows you to create some more energy. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some players who have very limited hip turn and still can create a lot of power, but these are more so the exception rather than what I would look for with the general golfer trying to get a little bit more power and also an improved delivery back to the golf ball. So as we're in this position, as we're making our backswing, we really want to try and see that we're matching the red stick with the green stick down on the ground. Now, historically, golf instruction would say that you would need to keep your right knee flexed, and then that would help you create a store up of power that you could release down at the golf ball. However, as golf instruction has evolved over the years, we've got a much better understanding of how to move the body to maximize power and efficiency of strike. And this is a great exercise to help you encourage that greater hip turn to really generate some more power and control over your golf ball. Now, when you're working through this exercise, and let's say you're still struggling to generate some more turn to your backswing, some more hip rotation here, some things that you can do with your stance. Well, you can get your toes a little bit more flared out rather than not. Now, it's going to feel quite odd for those of you who have never done this, but essentially that frees up your hips to create a bigger rotation. If my toes were pointed in, my kneecaps would be pointed in, and that's really going to hinder my ability to turn back into this right side as much as I can, and I'm going to feel more of a restriction through that lower body, which is something that we're not really looking for. We really want to feel that we're kind of opening up our lower body as much as we can, because that's going to help us put ourselves in a better position. The final step, if you're trying that, and let's say you might be an older recreational golfer and you're really looking for some more distance, what I would suggest is you're going to put your right foot and you're going to shove your right foot a little bit further back. Now, what that's going to allow you to do is create a heap more freedom for those hips to rotate back to that point. But as you can see, a very simple drill, really easy to work on in this manner. Essentially, just set up a stick between your feet, and then as you're rotating, you're really trying to work hard towards just matching the red stick with the green stick. You do that, and it's going to make your backswing put itself into a much better position for you to create more speed and power. Now, this is not necessarily a drill or an exercise in which you would hit golf balls. It's quite challenging with these sticks between. You can start with hitting some very small swings off a short tee or something similar, but essentially if you can practice this as much as you can at home, use some feedback, use a mirror as a reference. But what we're looking for here is a stick down on the ground at about 45 degrees through the feet, one through the belt line, and then as you're making a turn, you're looking to match both of those sticks together. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please like and subscribe. Comment below if this is something that you've been struggling with. I'd love to hear about it, love to give you some help. And until next time, thanks for watching.